Men's water polo nails the landing with their first conference win of the season on the road against Monmouth. Hello, I'm Anna Gomez.
And PJ Acierno continues to bring his scores lower and lower as he records the fourth lowest score in men's golf program history. You're watching LaSalle TV's home for Explorer Athletics, SportsLine.
Welcome to SportsLine. We've got a ton of LaSalle sports action this week, including a recap on an explosive men's water polo game.
Rough. And later, we put our brains to a test in a challenge we're calling the Coach Thunderdome. So stay tuned to find out whatever that actually is.
But first, let's take a look at what went down this past week for our athletes. Field hockey fell only 1 goal short of Ryder this past Wednesday, but a tough loss it was. Within 10 minutes of play, the Explorers took a 2-goal lead thanks to Kendall Creeder and Jess Hoffman, but that would be the extent of the Explorers' goal scoring. Before the end of the first half, Ryder would answer with 3 goals of their own. For the second half, the field was a defensive battle. Neither team allowed a goal, making the final score 3-2 Ryder. And on Sunday, the Explorers earned themselves an A-10 victory over Davidson. This is their second conference win of the season. The Explorers came out hot, netting their first goal within the first minute of play. The goal was scored by junior Jess Hoffman, who now has goals in her last 2 games. Davidson would answer in the 51st minute, tying the game at 1. About 10 minutes later, sophomore Logan O would tap in her first goal of the season to give the Explorers the win.
The LaSalle men's golf team played at the Patriot Intercollegiate on Sunday, September 25th. The Explorers shot an 11 over par 299 in the final round of the tournament, which tied them for 16th in the 21-team field. Individually, the big standout for the Explorers was none other than redshirt senior PJ Acierno. And Acierno carded a 1 over 72 in Monday's third and final round of the Patriot Intercollegiate. His 54-hole score of 213 slotted him in 6th place out of 110 players. Whoa. And his par 54-hole score is the 4th lowest in program history.
Wow. Men's water polo competed in the Mid-Atlantic Water Polo Conference tournament this weekend at Salem International University. The weekend started on a high note as the Explorers captured their first conference win against Monmouth. In an 11-10 overtime matchup, freshman Joey DeFusco led the offensive attack with 4 goals, including the game winner. Jeff Brady followed with a critical overtime goal to set up DeFusco. Jacob Klingsberg and Owan Lewin shared time between the pipes and combined for 9 saves. The Explorers played their second game of the Saturday doubleheader against Washington and Jefferson. Despite DeFusco's 7-goal performance, LaSalle fell short 22-13. The Explorers dropped both matches on Sunday as well. LaSalle started the day off with a 24-13 loss to Salem International. It was a physical matchup to say the least, as 26 players were ejected between the 2 teams. Mercyhurst finished off a not-so-successful weekend for the Explorers in a 22-9 loss.
And following a disappointing Big 5 tournament, the women's volleyball team had nearly a week to regroup before traveling up to New York on September 23rd to take on the Fordham Rams in their conference opener. LaSalle got off to a very shaky start, dropping the first set in which they trailed for the entirety 25-18. They bounced back in set 2, however, with a 25-22 win, which included key kills by Madison Cook and Catherine Edgington, and that would be the last positive result for the Explorers in the match. The team struggled to put together a formidable attack in the following 2 sets, eventually dropping the match altogether 3-1.
LaSalle immediately hit the road following the loss and took a drive northeast to Kingston, Rhode Island to take on the second of 3 Rams teams in the Atlantic 10 Conference, URI. Unsurprisingly, fans bore witness to a result all too common for these past 2 seasons, a straight set defeat. Despite a hard-fought first set, the Explorers could not manage to overcome a Rhode Island offense, a reoccurring theme throughout the subsequent 2 frames. Final scores of 25-18, 25-15, and 25-13, respectively, were enough to land the blue and gold under 500 for the first time this season, at 8-9 overall and 0-2 in an A-10 play. The women will have several days to recover from their current 5-game losing streak before taking on the Davidson Wildcats on September 30th.
And on Saturday, September 24th, LaSalle reporter Sean Kelly, who has about 4 Mid-Atlantic Emmys, hit up McCarthy for the men's soccer versus UMBC. So take a look.
The LaSalle Explorers fell to UMBC 2-1 in overtime Saturday night at McCarthy Stadium. The Explorers fought hard in the first 45 minutes of the game with shots by Dom Filano, Tony Daniele, and Zach Senft. With 34 minutes left of the first half, with the assist of John Bell, UMBC's Greg Hawk's header found the back of the net. Goalkeeper Mike Kirk was just shy of the ball, who faced 14 shots on goal, saving 7 of them. On to the next half, LaSalle creeped up on UMBC and tied the game. In the 71st minute, Coleman Kennedy scored a penalty shot with a beautiful looper over the wall to tie it all up. This was Kennedy's 3rd goal of the season, all of them occurring in the last 4 games. But this will be the only action for LaSalle. After many fouls and attempts at goal from both teams, the game went into overtime. The teams kicked it out for 6 minutes of OT, but LaSalle soon gave up a goal by UMBC's Patrick John Giel to end the game 2-1. For LaSalle's last non-conference game of the season, this loss brings their record to 5-4. For SportsLine, I am Sean Kelly.
Wow, that was rough.
I know, breaks my heart every single time. But first, I guess, to talk about men's soccer, though, just want to bring up, like, that was their last conference match of the season, and it does display a team as almost together. However, like, the fact that they lost like the last 3 games, but they were all so tight, it really is something that's killing me on the inside. What do you?
It was definitely, again, it's like the 3rd game we watched where it was just so close and so hard to watch because they're putting in the work. It should be working out. It's just they're almost at the point of pulling it together. It's exactly it.
And I think the same thing goes for men's water polo. You know, we got our first men's conference win in their actual conference against Monmouth, which is, I feel like, a genuinely just a huge deal. But just to talk about that Salem International game, I talked to some of the players about it. And basically, both teams' benches were ejected as it got physical. Fists are being thrown in the pool. People are literally, they massacred each other. And they said that it was the most violent thing they've ever been involved in. And on top of that, when the 2 teams lined up to shake hands, the Serbian player for Salem International walked up to the LaSalle's coach and shook his hand in the line and said, "I will see you next time." Which, it sounds like the beginning of a movie, so I'm really excited to see, because they replay them later in the season, so I'm hyped. Yeah.
Wow, that's gonna be an exciting matchup to see what happens next. Yeah. But now let's get into some headlines. Just hours after reporting on men's basketball schedule, the women's team released their own schedule for the 2016-2017 season. The teams opened up their season at home against Lafayette on November 11th and a matchup against Temple on the 14th. On January 7th, the women will play A-10 rivals, the University of Rhode Island, on CBS Sports Network. Now, I'm excited for women's basketball. It was such a hard season to watch last year. You could literally see their souls being sucked out because they finished off their season 5-25 for the season and 2-14 in the conference. Yeah. It
just never clicked. You
no.
know? And I still think like we're feeling the loss of Indigo Dickens, Alicia Cropper, and they were starters for basically their entire time at LaSalle. And when you have like a younger team that after they're getting so used to having this tight-knit group of players, and then to lose somebody like Alicia Cropper, who you could count on no matter what, if she had like a dislocated ankle, could still somehow make a drive. Like, she was just incredibly tough. But at the same time, like Amy Griffin and Micaiah Owens, they honestly need that support. So who are these other players?
We have 2 upcoming players. We have a few new frosh on the team. I'm really excited to see how they're going to fare out. First one is Shaquana Owens. She was averaging 30 points a game in high school. She's got 7 rebounds per game and 4 assists per game. That's a lot of points that we have not seen for an individual player. So I'm excited to see how she translates that. We also have Shalina Miller, who brought her team to 6'2". She's 6'2", actually. She's actually her height. She's 6'2". That's going to be exciting to see. We need some height on that team, and she was averaging 18 points per game in high school.
Huge.
That's going to be really, really fun to see how they do in college.
In college. All right, and switching over to club sports, men's rugby kicked off their season on Sunday with a huge win against Year Sinus. To get this, they won 67-5 Mike Ryan, Nick McShane, and Jeff Leroux all scored double tries during the massacre, and Ryan Halfpenny was 5 out of 5 on conversions. Okay, that's a great way to kick off the season. They're putting in the time. They're getting aggressive. They're big. They're missing Sergio Mata. I'm sad. However, like they have a pretty crazy season this year. October 1st at Lafayette, October 7th home at Haverford, November 5th quarterfinals for playoffs. And as always, Mike Ryan is now as a senior leading it all. That dude is a monster. I think he might be the actual peak of athletic strength, except his pecs are really tiny compared to the size of his biceps. I think he should probably work on that.
Have you checked him out recently?
I mean, I'm just saying, but it's fine.
Well, thanks for that information, Jake. And on to one of the biggest events LaSalle has hosted in recent history. Michelle Obama spoke at LaSalle on Wednesday. Students and athletes packed the Gola to see the First Lady, who was on the campaign trail for Hillary Clinton. And the picture that you see up there is some of the women's soccer team who went to go see her. They were up front, and they were really excited to see her. Also, Madison Cook of volleyball, she was really excited to see her as well. That was just a huge moment for LaSalle, I think. Regardless of your political ideologies and where you stand, seeing Michelle Obama at LaSalle was just really, really cool.
Exactly, and especially I think like with seeing the Gola transformed with that many people, that wasn't just a women's basketball game or volleyball match. That was huge in terms of how many people were actually packed in the Gola, and it honestly reminded me of the heyday, the Explorers coming off of their
Sweet
16 break. Yeah. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm pretty content with everything with that, and it was definitely beautiful.
Yeah,
so
it was definitely cool to see. The entire campus was essentially shut down.
Yeah. We
had live streams in the LaSalle Business Building and in the Dan Rodden Theater. It was just a really cool event, and everyone at campus was somehow involved, excited, maybe very, very not excited to see Michelle
possibly.
Obama. But that was definitely a really cool event to see.
Exactly. So that just about takes us to our first break. And because we're about to take the hardest quiz competition of our lives, and how will we do, you will find out after this. We're going to find out.
You might feel like there's too many problems in the world, or that, you as a 15-year-old, 16-year-old can't really make a difference.
It's not always about you. It's not just one person. It's a group. It's a team. If we all show up together, that's what it's all about.
I was a part of helping to build what it is today.
I'm really lucky to get to be a part of that legacy.
Just that simple act that takes, 5 or 10 minutes of your time is making a difference and is transforming someone else's life.
Once you get there and realize how much you can change someone's life, it's one of the best feelings in the world.
I'd do anything to convince you just to be a part of this.
You guys keep doing what you're doing. It's something special.
Get up and try something. Just try it. Just go to one event, one action team event.
It'll just make you feel so good about yourself.
All right. Well, welcome back. And as you all know, LaSalle's athletics have gone through a heck of a lot of changes. New programs, new athletes from different countries, and new coaches. And speaking of said coaches, we have a one-time only segment where my lovely co-anchor and I will be going head-to-head to identify these coaches. So welcome to the Coach Thunderdome. Pull up the graphic. Pull up the graphic. There it is! To the death. Tanya Ellis, thank you. All right. So this brings us to question number 1. All right, get ready with the full screen CG. Who is this?
Ooh, all right. Well, you know what? I think I actually know who this is. New to the women's soccer team is head coach Rob Irvine.
Oh.
Am I right? There he is.
I think so, yes.
Now, Rob Irvine, he's originally from Leeds in the UK, but he grew up in Canada, so I think he's more of Canadian than a Brit. His accent is a combination. It's very fun to listen to him on the field. If you ever go to see a women's soccer or men's soccer game.
How do you know this?
Because you can hear him.
Oh, heck yeah. All right.
When you go to a men's soccer game, you can hear him. He actually played 8 seasons as an assistant coach for Penn, and they went to 3 NCAA tournaments, which was huge for a Philly team and a men's soccer team in general. He also recently just did 2 seasons at Keene, which is a Division III school, but he moved on up to a D1 school at LaSalle. So I'm really excited to see how he fares, because we had the Farrell dynasty of men's soccer. It's going to be cool. He also has a BA and MA from Syracuse and Penn. And he's a very different presence on the sidelines, I think.
Farrell was angry.
Yeah. Farrell had a kind of an explosive, it got a little, like you could hear him. Whereas with Robert Irvine, when you hear him on the field, it's a lot less.
It's like hearing a mockingbird coo. I don't know what that means, but yeah, it's whatever.
It's not like a mockingbird cue. Hoot? Cue.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just different. But nice try. I see what you did there with Rob Irvine. But I'm going to throw it to a tough one your way, Jake. Question 2, who is this?
Oh, gosh. Classic. I was just having coffee with him the other day. This is cross-country coach Matt Gosling. And you know what? He is, and I'm correct. I jumped the gun a little bit. But guess what? He's straight out of Gonzaga, class of 2012. Guy's a beefcake, specialized in the 800 and 1500 meter. He was top 10 in his program history. Do you want to know how much I researched him?
How much did you research him?
Well, I didn't research for this show. I just knew this off the top of my head. But he has been coaching at Binghamton, also, and with Penn, getting some really crazy NCAA qualifying athletes. And you know what? He's going to be coaching our guys. And you know what I'm excited about? I'm excited to see how he brings these athletes to more wins. That's what I'm thinking.
You know what? I'm excited because they only have the 2 coaching staff members for cross country in general.
Exactly.
So it's going to be really, really fun to see a switch up in leadership like that. He was also top 10 in his program history, isn't that right?
Yes, that is correct, which I already covered because I'm on top of my game.
At Gonzaga.
Straight out of Gonzaga, class of 2012. All right, but Gomez, you are a plebeian, so please try this one out for size. Question 3, take it.
All right. Well, you know what? I like having some female energy on the show. The past 2 coaches have been men. You know what? I think I know exactly who this is. This is Sarah Anderson, assistant field hockey coach. Am I right?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Whatever.
She also said field hockey on her shirt that I covered up. But she was a goalkeeper for Appalachian State in 2013 for her 4 years there. She was the MVP in 2013, and she was 9th in her program history in all-time saves. She worked as an assistant for Appalachian State, the Mountaineers, for 2 years. So after she had graduated, she spent some time there. She also just spent 2 years at Ferrum College. And there, she built out that program. That was in its first year of running. So it's really going to be cool to see how what kind of new ideas she brings to LaSalle with the program that's already very much developed.
All right, we got it. We know you understand what she's going to do. Hit me with the next question. I'm ready.
Wow. All right. Getting a little confident here. Well, if you think you're so high and mighty, you might have just met your match. Jake Zielinski.
Great. Yeah.
Question 4.
All right. Hit me with it. Oh, 2 coaches. Well, it can only be one of 2 things, and this is Allison Heavens and Ben Whitcraft, 2 of my personal favorites. I was just actually out bowling with them the other night. But yeah, it's fine. But Heavens and Whitcraft, the combination of their names, not exactly a brand of duvets from Target. They're actual people. And yeah, but the big things are though, Allison Heavens, she's coming in. She was a 4-year starter for Penn State lacrosse, and she is going to definitely be bringing some more, I guess, make some more versatility on in the midfield front lines. But the big thing is Ben Whitcraft. I am most excited for because that guy. First of all, he was named a captain in his freshman year, taking his team to all over the nation, where he was first in the nation with saves, and also, actually, I'm screwing this up. I'm blanking. I'm having a mental fritz.
So confident.
Yeah.
You were so confident with them.
You know what? All I'm saying is he's a good guy. I like him. He's pleasant. Same with Allison. You know, they're just nice people, and I think they're going to do a great job with our team. I can't keep track of all this information. And so I guess we're doing this out of 5. I'm going to give myself a point for that one. So if you nail this one, though, Gomez, you win. Question 5.
Wow, throwing me with two pictures too. Well, good thing I know exactly who they are. That is Jamie Scott and Jessica Wiggins of women's soccer.
Oh, oh.
There you go. I misquoted and I said Rob Irvine was the coach of women's soccer, but he's the men's soccer.
You blew it.
Yeah, but Jamie Scott and Jessica Wiggins, a former Explorer herself, she was playing on the women's soccer team. She was a goalkeeper, and she was sort of Katie Getzinger's substitute. Yeah. And Getzinger, she was a rock star for LaSalle. But Wiggins she was solid, rock solid. So I'm going to be really excited to see how Wiggins brings some of that goalkeeping experience to the team. Also, Jamie Scott, also a UK native.
Oh my
gosh. In Bournemouth.
Tea and crumpets all around.
Tea and crumpets for the soccer squads.
You're British.
He's interestingly enough, he's coached for Philadelphia Fever, which is the women's soccer team for the women's soccer league in the United States. And he's primarily going to be working on some recruitment stuff and the offense, which is something we desperately need a little bit more leadership on right now for women's soccer.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
No.
But I think we're going to head to our first break, or second break.
Second break, and you win. You win the competition. So please take us into break. I'm going to go cry in the bathroom.
Stick around. Thanks. We have marquee matchup up next.
We all have a role to play here at Richard Petty Motorsports. We respect each other, work hard, and that helped us get the big win in Daytona. My partners in the U.S. Air Force also know that it takes a team to make each mission a success. Your coworkers, family, and friends are your team. Treat them with respect, and together you can accomplish great things. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
And welcome back. Now that we've covered the past, let's take a look at what's going down for LaSalle in the future. Jonathan Maines has this week marquee matchup on men's soccer, which is the first Atlantic 10 game of their season. Check it out.
Hello, I'm Jonathan Maines with this week's marquee matchup. There is no better way to kick off October than with the men's soccer match this Saturday, October 1st at 7 p.m. Our Explorers will be going up against the St. Louis Billikens, an A10 rival. Hopefully, having home field advantage will help our boys break their 3-game losing streak. The Explorers are still faring well despite this recent string of losses, sitting third in the A10 conference with a 5-4 overall record. This places LaSalle ahead of St. Louis, who have only managed one win this season in their first game with an overall 1-3-3 record. However, if they should win their game tonight against Wisconsin, they should have some momentum going into Saturday's match. Two key players to look out for in this game are seniors Mike Kirk and Coleman Kennedy. Kirk is the Explorers' starting goalie. This senior has 4 shutouts this season out of only 9 games. His shots percentage is nearly 80%, so if he continues to play strong in front of the net, this will be a good game for the blue and gold. Coleman Kennedy is a defender who's been forming great recently. He leads the team with 4 goals and assists this season. He has 3 of those goals in just the last 4 recent games. He is the only player to score in these few matches. Hopefully he can keep this momentum going as well. One major key to this game for the Explorers will be watching penalties. The men's soccer team has received 13 yellow cards this season, which is more than double that of their opponents in every game they have played this year. LaSalle can't afford any mistakes in this game. Another key to the game is to secure the lead early and hold on to it. The vast majority of their goals have come in the second half, so if they could be a bit more aggressive early on and get some quick goals in, they'll be less stressed later in the game. Even though they are currently ranked much higher than St. Louis, they should never take their opponent for granted. The blue and gold need to execute well and keep the game in their control to end this losing streak and keep moving up in the Atlantic 10 Conference. Be sure to head out to McCarthy Stadium on Saturday to see if the Explorers can pull off this win. For SportsLine, I'm Jonathan Maines.
Thanks, John. Now, men's soccer has been suffering a pretty bad slump lately, just trying to dig out of that hole. But I predict to see some good things happen for them soon. How will other Explorer squads fare this week? It's time for Jake's Picks of the Week, everybody. Cue it up. All right. Pick number 1, I'm going my men's water polo versus Penn State at home on Saturday, October 1st. You know what? The men's team is spunky. They're proving that they have nothing to lose on the line. For the most part, it is an all-freshman team. These guys have been putting themselves on the line. I mean, physical harm. I mean, I'm pretty sure basically everybody got punched in the face during that last game. But the thing is, there are freshmen scoring real goals against real teams. And you know what? Penn State, that team is a club team as well. And I have a feeling that we're just going to get the chance to really start to flex a bit on them. Jay Camacho, Jeff Brady leading the team in goals and everything. But you know what? They don't have anything but seniority. We have guys who are out there wanting to win and prove themselves. And so that brings me to pick number 2, women's volleyball versus Davidson on the road, Friday, September 30th. And you know what? This is going to be a big turning point for our season. And Davidson's a 4-10 team, struggling in the A10 just as much as we are. And the thing is, these two teams are trying to gain a foothold in the A10. This is one of those games that this is one of the first A10 starts for their season. This is going to be huge if they can pull off a win against Davidson, because we need to get out of that lower tier and start to make our way up through the middle. And really
great start in the beginning of the season. It's going to be really hard to see them fall into that same rhythm that they have in the past few seasons. So I'm really, really hopeful that they're going to turn this season around and make some big plays against Davidson.
Absolutely. So that brings me then to pick number 3, though. Field hockey versus VCU at home on Friday, September 30th. And you know what? Big thing for field hockey, I feel like, is being home.
Yeah.
The more you can play on familiar turf, the more you can just be in an actual setting that you know that you're used to, is so huge, especially when you're playing on turf in all these different fields. But the thing is, VCU is 3-5 and is coming off a loss against JMU. We're coming off a win. But the thing is, we got to watch out because they do have some solid players. It reminds me a lot of Abby Lawrence, Emily McNamara. She has 5 goals right now. But the thing is, right now, after getting to see that game where we lost against Ryder and just how devastated they were and how big of a fight they put up at home, you know what? We're playing much better than I expected us to play. Okay. And I think that this could be another one of our opportunities, you know, to prove ourselves. And this is one of those crucial midpoint ranges of the season. And the thing is, Rachel Hartman, she's in back with 69 saves in a total with 2 shutouts. And there are not many people in the nation who are pulling off the stats that she's pulling off.
That's true. She is actually the #1 goalie in Philadelphia. She was picked as Philadelphia Goalie of the Week for field hockey. So yeah. Pretty cool. But that just about wraps it up for us this week. If you can't make it out to see the marquee matchup, be sure to tune in next week for our coverage. Keep up with this weekend's other sporting events by visiting GoExplorers.com or check out this week's edition of the Collegian.
Also, check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/LaSalleTV. We welcome you to send us your thoughts and suggestions there.
And for Sean, Jonathan, and our SportsLine team, I'm Anna Gomez.
And I'm Jake. Thanks for joining. We'll see you at the game.